Hello and welcome back to FootieTalksPod. This is Series 2, Episode 2. I'm joined again by James, who you'll recognise, Paddy, who is in, I think he's had 3 episodes now, and he was in the Series 2, Episode 1 opener.
This is my 4th now, yeah.
This is your 4th episode. And we've got Toby, who I think this is the second guest to make a hat-trick.
No, it's only my second one.
Is this your
It's
third
only
or
a
second? Oh,
Only
no,
my
I'm
second.
losing track.
You've been here too many times.
I've done this too, yeah. We're only in 11 episodes and I'm getting lost track. Right, so the international break is coming to an end. Yay. Premier League football returned on Saturday. And we've got some interesting games. We're going to run through them. We'll talk about this Premier League box office, 15 quid a game. We'll talk about Project Big Picture, maybe. We'll talk about anything that comes to mind. So, first up, massive game on Saturday lunchtime, Merseyside derby.
Big title clash.
Where do we see this going?
I'll let our guests start. Toby,
you're the newest. Toby, you're the newest.
I'll give it as a draw.
Draw?
Everton playing well. Liverpool on the back of just getting battered by Villa.
Okay.
I think Everton, they won't win. Everton won't be able to win, but...
Why can't they win?
Zach Goodison. They're on better form. The league, unbeaten.
That doesn't make a difference.
I still would not back them to beat Liverpool.
Zach ran in goal?
Yeah, no, I think they'll score. And Everton's defence did play well. Who did they play? Was it Brighton? They played... Yeah. And the defence was really good. Brighton actually had some decent chances, but I still wouldn't back them to beat Liverpool. Liverpool were just too good to
I think Liverpool have a point to prove now as well, don't they?
Yeah.
That they're not completely inept. And they might go into this thinking, right, it's a Merseyside. We need to kickstart our season a bit better. This is the perfect game to kind of get the most push behind it. If they lose this game, you can see maybe not fans starting to turn, but you can see people going, what's going on with this Liverpool side here? I don't think questions would be asked of Jurgen or anyone like that, but there'd definitely be a lot more pressure on the likes of Adrian, maybe Joe Gomez, who's not had the best of starts to a season alongside Virgil van Dijk. Yeah. I think Virgil was more the golden star in every Liverpool fan's mind. They go to sleep with a picture of him above their bed.
Coming from you, what's behind you?
Yeah, it's a world-class picture, mate. I said it and I was like, oh crap, I can't really say that. But I do think when you look at Everton and the creative forces they've got, Seamus Coleman, who I think a lot of people are going to go, hang on, Seamus Coleman, but he is a very good right back with a bit of a renaissance under Ancelotti. James, you got a man like Dominic Calvert-Lewin up top, who's scored in the international break. Richarlison, that's the exact thing you need. Lucas Digne as well, sorry. That's what you need.
Absolutely whips them free kicks and he's dirty.
That's going to trouble the Liverpool defence. Paddy, what are you saying? What are you thinking?
Go on, Paddy. Go on.
I think after last week, I think I have to stick by Everton because I did pick them up a lot last week, and I think people disagree with me. But I think just the way Liverpool played last week, I think that can play into Everton's hands quite well. If they do, obviously they might change with the high line and that. But I think Calvert-Lewin's in form of his life. Everything he's doing, scores goals. I think Richarlison and James, the creativity that they both have, I think it could be hard for Liverpool. I can't see Liverpool winning it. I don't think they'll win it, but I think it's more likely to be a draw than a win for Everton. But I would like to see Everton win, I think. For the league, really, to see Everton win.
Yeah. I'm confident Everton are going to pull this out, I think Liverpool are missing some key men. They're missing, and it's important players as well in the way they play. Alisson's so crucial to the system of getting it, playing out from the back, competent defensive line. You take him away, you take Mane away, who I think is their biggest threat. You take Thiago out. Who
it's a much weaker side.
Who can compete in that midfield is will Henderson be fit enough after international duty? I don't even know if he's playing, is he?
But then I don't think he's played in internationals. But then again, you like go, okay, well, they're out. Then who do you bring in? If it's the kids, maybe they've got a bit of that Merseyside bite behind them. They got something to prove against Everton. It's a perfect game to come into and start if they've got the chance. Could that do something?
See, I think that would make the most sense if you like to bring a bit of fighting spirit, especially after the Villa game.
Yeah.
But I think Jota probably comes in for Mane over Shaqiri.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's fit. Henderson, Wijnaldum are the most natural to come in, and Thiago's played half game against us. Is that it? But then so they've not really utilised him as much as he needs to. Everton, I think Everton are so strong, and I think the form they're in, the international break came at the wrong time for them. But the form they're in, and the fact they have a point to prove against Liverpool, against the rivals they've not won for so long, I think will spur them on. And I think Everton are going to nick it 2-1, maybe 2-1.
As much as I've been bigging them up, I'm actually going to go Liverpool win. I think they've got it in the bag.
In the
bag, I think, because the way I'm thinking of it is, I think I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Curtis Jones makes maybe not start heavy substitute appearance. I think he's a very special talent. I think Curtis Jones is great, and even like with Diego Jota in, and if you still have him, Salah, Bobby in there, and Bobby scored 2 in the international break, I think, for Brazil. I think they've still got too good a side. I think Jurgen, it's tough. I think Everton could play the perfect opposite football to what Liverpool need. When they played Villa, they pinned the fullbacks up, and in Coleman, Digne, you've got perfect players to be doing that, who are equally comfortable defensively if they were pushing high. But I think the Liverpool side has too much pace, a bit too much speed, a bit too much physicality for this Everton side, who bar maybe the likes of Richarlison and Alan and Decore and centre-backs, they're a bit weak. They're a bit slow as well. They don't necessarily have a pace merchant in there. Whereas I think Liverpool with Jota, with Salah, a bit of speed, I think they'll have it.
Fair. So I think is that 2 for Everton and 2 for Liverpool?
I'm still on a draw.
Oh, you're on a draw. Okay.
So draw
the boring one.
Thoughts all across the board.
2-2 draw.
Chelsea, Southampton. Hard to go into a lot of detail about that. Chelsea don't necessarily look the best, the strongest.
No, that's still.
Southampton mixed bag of results. You get pumped by Spurs, but then you get a couple of positive results, and it's all change. I can't tell.
It's possible. It's possible for Southampton to do it, but it would be Chelsea.
I hope
Chelsea to win that.
But I think most people I've sort of seen and read about are saying that's the most nailed on result of the weekend for Chelsea win. Next game Saturday afternoon, evening, Man City Arsenal.
Big.
I don't know how I feel about this one.
Let the Arsenal fans.
It's very tough to call.
I think it's going to come down to what injuries City have, because it was Aguero's out, isn't he? And then I saw somewhere saying Gabriel Jesus is out as well. So
if they still have to rely on that.
Yeah, De Bruyne's out as well. There's concern about whether he'll make it. If De Bruyne's out, I don't want to say I don't think we'll lose, but it's going to be a tough call. And it depends whether if we play Partey or not, or is Arteta going to try and ease him in to the team, or just chuck him straight in. He did it with Gabriel, just the first game against Fulham, just came straight in.
I think it's
one of them ones.
I think it's a really tough one. I'm still sort of like, so I don't want to say that we'll get a result. I don't want to say that we'll beat them. And yeah, we beat them in the FA Cup, and we played really well then. and their injuries sort of seem to help. You think, as James said, if they go with Rory Delap's son Liam up front, is that positive for us? Is that like, oh, we don't have Aguero? No, it's like they've still got threats though, even without Aguero and De Bruyne. Their defense is what encourages me, and for the first time, I'm worried about someone else's defense that's not Arsenal's. But I don't think Partey will start. I think with the Gabriel thing, he was there for a couple of weeks training. Partey's been 3 days, 4 days maybe by the time it's match day.
But do you need, how much bedding in time do you think he will need then? And if he doesn't start, who starts ahead of him?
I think
it'll be Xhaka Ceballos.
It'll be Xhaka Ceballos. I only think that because I think Arteta will want to try and develop a new system with the arrival of Partey, change from a 3 to a 4 back, and have either 2 or 3 in midfield holding. And I think to try and change a system with a player who's just signed, doesn't know anyone, and signed during an international break might be a bit early. So I think it's a difficult one. Man City's defensive looked really shaky. Garcia's
it's the worst City side we've seen in years.
Yeah, it is, I think. And it's a tough one. I think you'll probably have a Laporte and Diaz centre-back pairing.
Yeah.
If Laporte's pass fit with his test, because obviously the France-Portugal game.
Yep.
It's all a bit... I'll say a draw. Because it's at the Etihad, I'll say a draw. I'm not going to put my neck on the line and say...
You really want to say win, don't you? You really want to say that Arsenal are going to win this.
Me?
Yeah, I can see it.
I'm tempted, but I don't want to tempt fate and say we'll win and then David Luiz concedes a penalty and gets sent off after 5 minutes and then we're on the back foot and royally messed up. But I also think Arteta's team selection, I've not necessarily always been too impressed by it. It sometimes confused me. Like whether the last game was like Nketiah started up front. It might have even been Liverpool and Nketiah started up front over. Yeah, there's some stuff like Lacazette scored 3 and 3 and you drop him. Stuff like that. It wasn't Liverpool, whatever our game after Liverpool was.
It's Sheffield.
Sheffield United, that's the one. It's like he scored 3 and 3. Sheffield United are 18th, 19th of the league, haven't got a point, and you're dropping your top scorer. So there's just stuff that makes me question some things. But I'll say a draw, and then if we win, I'll be delighted. And if we lose, I won't be too shocked.
Yeah. One key point that I think is going to happen, thing that's going to change, is whether Tierney can play or not. Because he was with, I can't remember which Scottish player it was, but he was in close contact. Yeah, but he's now got the coronavirus. So Tierney was set to quarantine, but we're trying to challenge it.
I don't think
if he can play. Do you think he will? No. If he can, it's a big win, because if not, it's Kolasinac, and we all know he's going to make a mistake. If we put Kolasinac and David Luiz at the back together, it's not going to go very well. So
I think that's the interesting point, is if we play 3 at the back or 5 at the back or 4 at the back, whatever one it is, because I don't think Kolasinac works in that system.
Yeah, I think if we played the 3, like a 3-5, no, a 3-4-3 one, we'd probably put Kolasinac at left centre back, and I reckon we put Saka on the left as well.
See, I'd have Saka in there over Kolasinac anyway. Then that allows Willian, Pepe, Aubameyang up front, or if you have a Cam, Aubameyang, whatever, it allows you for more flexibility. But I think inevitably it'll be Kolasinac. He's more defensive minded. We'll see, but I think a draw. Then it is Sky box office for Newcastle Man United, and I don't think any of us are going to be shelling out £15 to watch that. So Man United fans, you have to catch it on Match of the Day. What are your thoughts regarding A, box office, and B, your chances at St James's?
I'm not paying 15 quid to watch Matty Longstaff turn into the greatest Premier League midfielder of all time for the second year in a row. I think it always seems that Man United against Newcastle, Steve Bruce, he's got something over Ollie. I think he's probably got a bit of blackmail, and he's just like, Ollie, just tell them to go out and do exactly how they've done at the start of the season, which is absolutely dreadfully, and prove nothing, and let us win. We're poor. We are very, very bad right now. I think we can get a win. There is the quality in the side. If Paul Pogba comes back with a negative COVID test, which you'd hope, he plays well. And if Bruno comes back and plays well, you got Rashford, Martial, Greenwood has to start, I think. I think it'd be interesting to see what happens with Pelistri. He won't start this game, obviously, or he might not even get a bench. But I think this is the sort of fixture where you can put him on the bench and maybe say, have a go at him second half, something like that. For a couple but Sky Box Office, it's a joke. It's 15 quid to watch a game that I could just have watched on Sky Sports last week when they would have just shown it on main event. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's disgusting that the higher ups are charging the fans even more for what we're having to like. We've got no chance of like watching it in person, and they're just literally like scamming us out of a bit of money for it. It's horrid.
I think it's an interesting area, and I think Simon Jordan on TalkSport spoke about it today. Similar sort of thing I've had we've spoken about before. Having a Premier League streaming service similar to that Netflix mold. I think the EFL have it, or a form of it, and you pay a season pass, 20 quid or whatever, and then you get access to the games.
They don't milk enough money out of it then. But because
financially it won't make sense.
But why should we be paying more money anyway? We already pay them my dad paid, I think it's like £80 a month for Sky Sports or something, or something ridiculous more. Like, why do we have to pay more?
When you look at that and you look at the recent outcomings of clubs like Liverpool and Manchester United banding together to say, hang on, right, let's change the whole league structure. If not, we're going to form a new league by ourselves. It is just money grabbing. Henry Winter the other day was speaking about, I think, Joel Glazer, saying that he's not fit to be in the presence of footballing legends like Sir Alex Ferguson and Bobby Charlton, who gave so much to the game, and all he wants is very clear, and that's just fistfuls of cash. This idea has very definitely come from the clubs, and it's come in a mask of we're suffering because of the coronavirus pandemic and we can't afford to pay our mascots, whilst we'll go and spend 45 million on a defensive midfielder. By the way, I need everyone down that road 15 quid from them every week. Is that all right? Yeah, sounds all right. Obviously, ticket sales aren't like there, and they are affecting them badly. Manchester United is the biggest affected of the lot, but it is very much stealing the money from the fans' pockets, and we don't have a choice at this rate. It's kind of, you either pay up, say you want to watch even like 3 of the games on the box office a week, and that's 45 quid to watch 3 football matches from your home with your Virgin Media Wi-Fi that'll probably go out like at the 30th minute. And it's like, it's wrong.
I think I saw Hugh Wizzy tweet about it, and it was saying people already pay Sky Sports subscription, BT Sport, Amazon Prime. Yep. You've got Sky Sports is more expensive because it's not standard in a Sky bundle. You've got to pay extra on top of that. Now with box office, now with like internet and all of that access, it's clear evidence football is now becoming like they don't care about the fans. It's about business, and if we can charge sleeping money, I think people will be more like okay with it if it was like a very irregular thing. If there was like a big game that couldn't get on you couldn't fit into the schedule, you'd have to change, and then or Sky or BT both won it, and then you put it on this shared box office platform.
Yeah.
And it was like one-off games. But it's like if you like, people aren't going to pay 15 quid to watch their team, and they've got big games on there, and it's people are going to pay it, aren't they?
I think it also takes away from they're going to be focusing on the bigger teams in the regular hosted matches. If I want to go and watch Newcastle take on, I don't know, Southampton, I'm not going to pay 15 quid to do that. But that's going to be 2 times a season where they're obviously not going to pick them to do Sky Sports main event. They're obviously not going to put them on BT Sport. They're going to go, we've got an Arsenal game against someone, and both of them, they can't really move from their position. But because it's Arsenal, we know we'll get more money or we'll get more viewers. So we'll put it on that. And then the Newcastle game, we'll shove that down on the box office one. We can get like maybe a couple of grand out of it or whatever. It's awful. It's like you're just literally pushing the smaller clubs, the views on them down, whilst elevating the bigger clubs. And they're going to go, oh, well, I think Chelsea Southampton is on BT Sport box office. But it's like, why? Let me just watch it anyways.
Like
I think we're quite fortunate that we support like one of the biggest teams in the league. So the majority of our games will be on TV, probably.
I think that is generous to Arsenal, yeah. But okay.
That can go away. But
where are you
James, we can't say this anymore. We can't say this.
16 last time I checked, wasn't it? And then what?
Have you guys won the Community Shield already this season?
-12.
We made ourselves as Sancho FC, so come back when you got a player like that.
Yeah. So
yeah, you're right.
Going back to the point, I don't know how they split it. Like with the $14.95, I haven't looked into it. Like what percent goes to like Sky or BT, whoever's broadcasting it, and what percent actually goes to the club? Because obviously some of it has got to go to the club, because otherwise they wouldn't have voted towards it. But with this as well, it will will increase the gap between the top teams in the league and the bottom teams in the league. Because as you said, no one's going to want to watch like Fulham West Brom and pay £15 for it.
Yeah.
So they're going to make a lot less money than if I don't say it was Arsenal West Brom. If that's getting shown on TV, Arsenal are going to make much more money from that than Fulham would. So at the same time, it's just still making a massive.
It's like a big scrape on the sides.
Yeah, it's not even. So.
I think most of it will go to Sky, and then I think rather than it being individual payments for the game, I think clubs will sort of sign up or will sign up, and then they'll receive X amount of each TV revenue money. So rather than it being like, we'll take Sky Sports take £10 every game, and then we'll split $14.95 between the two of you. I think the clubs will receive like a block payment. But I also think
hopefully
it also extends the gap. It also then takes away neutral viewing. Because sometimes if Arsenal aren't on telly and there's not like a big game, or we've played our game and you've got an interesting looking fixture, so like a relegation battle, or there's like who's going to get like, I don't know. Sometimes Aston Villa West Ham would be a good game. Sometimes something like that. And it's like, I'll watch it if it's on Sky because I've got Sky. I'm not going to pay 15 quid extra to watch that game. I think Arsenal Leicester's on box office.
Yeah.
It's a game I want to watch. Am I really prepared to shell out 15 quid for it? I think an also interesting point is Sky, but they've proved it can work showing every game. Yeah, there's sort of like stupid times, or you've got less 3 o'clockers, or you've got, but the method worked, the model worked, everyone got shown on telly, which is fairer. You don't get, I think Arsenal had like stupid amounts of games shown last season in terms of the amount of games that you play. Most of them were on telly. Same as Man United, like same as the big teams. And it's just a disparity. I think I got an email last week from Arsenal offering me the chance to go to the Emirates to watch Arsenal Man City in a lounge for 49 quid. I got a pizza and 2 beers and get to watch the game. I was like,
trying to nick your money.
It's like,
Go to Co-op, you get them for a
or I can stay at home, watch it, and I can get the Co-op deal that you're advertising on telly, where you get 2 pizzas and 4 beers for £5. I'll do that.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about the tubes getting home.
Yeah, I don't have to travel. I don't have to watch us lose at the Emirates and then everyone be depressed. After the game, just go on FIFA. Chill. I think we will take a break there. And after the break, we will talk about the other big games from the weekend and go a bit more into Project Big Picture. So, catch you after the break. Hello, welcome back. Part 2. We've just had a break, and before that, we were talking about Premier League games this weekend. We got to about Newcastle Man United. Spoke about that. Spoke about box office and all of that, and paying £15 to watch mid-table clashes or relegation clashes in the case of Newcastle Man United. I think it's a really hard weekend to call this week because there's loads of games that anyone could win or anything can happen. Sheffield United, Fulham, I can see that being such a boring 0-0.
Yeah, it's Sheffield United or a bad draw.
Yeah, it's one of
you just got to hope Sheffield will turn up. So, like the people that are forking out 15 quid for that, you get something out of it.
The relegation 6-pointer.
Yeah.
It's a massive game in terms of, even though it's so early in the season, in terms of their seasons. I mean, Fulham would be massively up for that because they need to start getting some points and quick.
So to Sheffield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheffield have been very, very bad, but
I think they played well against Arsenal. They got very unlucky. We got to be hit with 2 goals in 4 minutes. They played well. I think they'll be fine. I think Fulham need to score some goals. They need to get some points because they're in danger of getting a worse return than Derby did all those years ago.
The thing is, with Sheffield United, you can see how they can come out of this match with points because they've got a very, very good defensive structure and they can nick a goal. And they're not like unknown for 1-0, 2-1, 2-0 wins. They put it close. Fulham, at the minute, don't really have a strike force that works. It seems in a Premier League standard. They definitely don't have a defence that works at Premier League standard. And again, against a club like Sheffield, that's something that they can nick their goal at if they're bad enough. So
I think the signing of Joachim Andersen's a very interesting one. Arsenal went with him last year.
This is the Danish defender from Lyon.
Yeah, so I think he was at Sampdoria last year, and we were heavily linked with him. We were talking about like a double deal with him and Pratt, who went to Leicester. We missed out on them both. And he's ended up in the Premier League, but at Fulham. So really bizarre one. I like him. I think he looks good. There was a reason Arsenal were clearly looking at him. Maybe he hasn't reached it at Lyon. But yeah, that I don't know. I want to say that would be a boring game, but the results we've had in the Premier League, it's going to be 5-5. Crystal Palace, Brighton.
I can't wait for this, personally. I think this is a good game. Does this not look like a good game to you guys?
Is it because there's Neil Mapai in it?
It's a rivalry as well, isn't it?
No, genuinely, I think Brighton Palace can be a good game. I think
they've got rivalry, and Brighton played. Yeah. Brighton weren't even bad against Everton when they played as well. So
they should have been good.
Were just really good.
Brighton got robbed against Man United, but we're not going to get into that. They've looked good, but I like Palace this season. I think the fact they've managed to keep Zaha. I like that. I like Eze from QPR. I think it's a brilliant signing. They've got a really pacey attack.
I mean, Eze, Zaha, Jordan Ayew, you got Batshuayi kicking about there. Like it's a good little side, and with like Hodgson behind them, he's a good manager. Yeah. I think the most interesting part of this is the managers, because you've got one that's very old school, been there, done that, flat 4-4-2, defending a line. Let's play football, how the English play football. Yeah. And then you got Greg Potter, who's the English coming of Pep Guardiola, like crossed with a bit of Nagelsmann maybe. He's had the most interesting route in football coming up through like the Swedish leagues. I think it's two very different ways of playing football, or at least looking at football. And they both got very exciting sides to do it. They've got the championship success stories in Neil Mapai and Eze. I think it's good. I know it's a bad game and I know it's going to be a 0-0, but I'm actually well excited for this game. I'm more up for this United game.
Is it enough to fork out £15 though?
Is it 15 quid one?
I don't know what it's on.
Sky Sports. Get in there. I wouldn't fork out 15 quid, but it's on Sky Sports, so that's my Saturday or Sunday made.
I think it's not like the typical like attractive game on paper that everyone goes, right, that's a must watch. But I think as football fans as well as club driven fans, it's a perfect game because you sort of like, and I think I can see it being an entertaining game. I'm on board with that.
It'll be a 0-0. It will be a 0-0.
I'm going to curse it, are we? Spurs West Ham. On paper, you think Spurs should blow them out the water, especially after how they destroyed Man United. But I like West Ham this season. I like West Ham in general. I think they've come in for some criticism, rightly or wrongly. But
very rightly.
Will David Moyes be managing from his own house though?
I think he should keep it up.
Yeah, because they should be doing that.
Wolves 4-0.
I think he's probably past that 2 weeks. I think he should be okay. But I think beating Leicester and beating them convincingly will be positive for West Ham. Tottenham, there's a case of whether Harry Kane will be fit. Mourinho and Southgate are not too happy with each other about the way Kane should or shouldn't be treated or played in international duty. Gareth Bale's in training for Spurs. Could he come off the bench? I think that's a really interesting one.
Yeah, Spurs are really good.
It should be a good game.
As much as it hurts to say, I think they've got the win here against West Ham quite easily.
I'm not sure it's going to be as convincing as you think. I think West Ham are a better team than Man United this season. They're above them in the league.
They're in better form. They're not a better team. They're in better form.
Better form.
James, just stop. We're clutching at straws here.
Okay. Leicester City versus Aston Villa, repeat of last season's Carabao Cup semi-final. Leicester having a bit of a shake.
A little bit. I think they're going to be fine. I think the team's good enough. Players like Jamie Vardy would have had a bit of a rest as long as he's not injured. It'll be fine. They've got a good little side there. And I think they'll be wanting to get stuff sorted out. I think, the last two games that Leicester have faced Aston Villa, they've scored 8 goals total. They scored 4 in each. I think it's Leicester. Yeah. They're good.
You think it should be...
You can't...
But Leicester are prepping for Europa League football. Will that play on Brendan's mind? Is that not yet? I don't know. It might be a few weeks away.
I think it's close. It might be next week.
I thought I saw my calendar.
Paris next week.
I thought I saw my calendar and Arsenal have got Dundalk very soon, but I might be going crazy.
No, I think it was next week. Yeah.
West Brom Burnley.
Boring.
Would be.
Who cares? Sam Collins probably cares a little bit.
It's one of those games, isn't it? You look at it and just like that has got 0-0 written all over it.
Who's the West Brom striker that I like, or forward? Mateus Pereira. He's good. I like Mateus Pereira. I like watching him. He's a good little skillful player. But the rest of the team just doesn't look good. They got that. Is Grady Diogana the West Ham
they signed him now.
Yeah. Maybe those two could do something against a Burnley side. But
they've surprised me this season, West Brom. I had them bottom. I had them to go down quite easily.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't convinced. But despite not necessarily having like an amazing start, I've liked the way they've played. They've scored 2 against Everton, 2 or 3 against Everton. With 3-0 against Chelsea.
3 against Chelsea.
They've got
games like that. They're gonna have to win. Like, I know Chelsea are Chelsea, but they were 3. Was it 3-0 up? Weren't they?
3-0 up.
Yeah, they should. If they want to stay up, they're gonna have to win them games. They can't. That's what if you want to stay up, that's what games you have to win. Right.
It's got to sort the defense out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just can't bottle a 3-0 lead.
They've got goals in them though. Definitely got goals in them. Let's go West Brom, 1-0. To be honest, I think I'm most excited for the Monday night game.
Leeds Wolves. Looks good. 2 very tactical sides. Interesting players as well.
Could be an attacking game.
Yeah, it'll be a very good game.
Be 2 sides going at each other for the throat. I think it'd be interesting to see Bielsa do his kind of deconstructing of the Wolves setup. Jimenez has been in decent form at the start of the year. How he'll kind of work with where he drops deeper and Podence goes in up top, and he kind of plays it on Podence. That would be quite interesting to see how it works against Leeds with they got some really good centre backs and the players in front, and how Calvin Phillips will be able to work in that system. But I think Leeds, the extreme press could kind of like force some Wolves mistakes. I think Wolves are set up structurally sound, but Leeds bully and take him apart could do it.
Yeah, I feel like Leeds, they played very well against Man City because they got a draw there, so it's obviously not a very easy task against City. If they do press onto Wolves' defence, I think they'll be quite shaky, very error-prone. We saw, probably not the best result for them when they got battered by West Ham 4-0, so we know their defence isn't always the best. With the press on them, I think it'd be kind of like what Liverpool did to Arsenal. If you press, the defence are going to make mistakes, but it's how can be able to set it up for Leeds to do that.
I think that'd be an interesting one.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah, we'll see how the table shapes up. Will Everton stay top of the league? I think they'll beat Liverpool. I think someone's got to beat them though. They look good. So, news sort of come out the last couple of days about Project Big Picture. The news that has delighted every football fan up and down the country. Not great.
What is it? Explain it to everyone that doesn't know.
It's sort of a restructuring of English football completely. It's sort of been put together in secret with Man United and Liverpool mainly, and sort of ultimately it drops the amount of teams in the Premier League from 20 to 18, which means that there will be 90 professional clubs in the Football League rather than 92. It means
94.
No, there's 92, so 2 drop out because there's 2 less teams in the Premier League.
Oh, do they just get lost down in League 2 then?
That's the idea, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So because there'll be 2 less.
Wait, so the 2 Premier League teams drop out to the Championship, or they just go?
No, they drop out
to the Championship. The Championship will drop 2, and then I
What
thought
they're
they
saying
just
is
falls
there'll
down
be
when space
from League 2, League 1 and the Championship, there'll be 24 teams
Yeah.
as normal.
And then the
The
Premier
Premier League will go from 20 to 18.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So-
Why?
So well, because this is what their thing is. So I reckon like
So-
4 would be relegated from League 2 rather than or 5 rather than 3 or whatever the rule. I don't know.
Yeah.
It also means that they think that their Premier League money and voting rights should be more evenly distributed between the more powerful clubs. So they've decided a big 9 who will get more money and voting power than the other 9. So those 9 are the big 6. I say big 6 rather than top 6 because that's always changing. Big 6 obviously is Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, Man City. And as well as those, they will introduce the 3 longest serving members of the Premier League: Everton, Southampton and West Ham. Obviously, just on that point, I have a problem with it, first of all. I also have a problem with this. If you're going to have a 9 club regulation, 9 makes no sense in terms of why is it 9? You make it 8, or you do at least an even number. And B, the team's included in that because I think if you're going to do this, you say it's the 9 most powerful teams or the teams that bring in the most of the Premier League. Arguably, West Ham, Southampton, historically, don't do that. And you think more recently,
I think they've done it. They've done it as a kind of. They're thinking, right, Southampton don't traditionally get the most money in, so maybe they'll say yes. West Ham have a lot of expenses. Maybe they'll say yes.
But West Ham said no.
And that's the thing. They've misjudged it. West Ham said no. They actually, for once, that football club, the people running it have a bit of integrity. And I think it's the one time that maybe the fans and the owners of that club will see eye to eye on something. So definitely.
So if you had to pick a big 9, you'd pick the big 6. Everyone would we all joke about Arsenal aren't a big club anymore, Man United aren't a big club. They're in the biggest 6 teams in that league. What other 3 would you put into that conversation?
Everton have to be in there.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. If I had to, this is really you'd have to hold me over a fire and make me do it because I think it's horrible either way. You'd have to go to someone like Everton. I'd probably say Newcastle.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably say Leicester because they're the only other team to win the Premier League so recently.
So there's 7 teams who've won the Premier League. That would make sense to have those 7. If you want to do half the league,
is it Blackburn in it then?
But I
they're a
don't.
Premier League winner.
Oh, fun! Then I think there's 6 who accompany the league, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think it's hard. I think if you have to have those 3, Leicester, because they've, as you said, they won the league. They've got European. They've been semi-consistent.
It's elitist at the very least.
Yeah, and I think but it also means that they want to restructure relegation, and this is the only part I kind of like. If
you say why you like it, and then I'll disagree with you, no matter what.
There'll still be 3 teams relegated and 3 teams promoted, but it sort of follows the German idea of 2 teams from the Premier League get automatically relegated. So 17 and 18 both go down straight away, and 1 and 2 both go up from the Championship as normal. Then the team in 16th, and I think 3, 4, 5 from the Championship.
Yep.
Then go into a mini tournament thing with 2 semi-finals and a final to see whoever gets promoted. I think. I don't know if it's whether they're the Championship do their playoffs as normal, then the winner gets to play the Premier League team. I sort of like that. It's the only thing I sort of like about it.
I just don't really see the point in it. Like,
There's no point.
Nothing's been wrong with the Premier League ever since it started. Why change it now?
Well, as a fan, I think there's nothing wrong with it. But I think for the businesses and for the American owners, especially behind Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, they don't feel that they are getting enough money.
How do they
Not enough
feel
money is
they're
coming
getting-
out of the Premier League to them that they're putting in. They bring in
The relegation structure as well, I think, is the most obvious money grab part of it.
Yeah.
Because it's going, firstly, it takes out what is commonly known as the most expensive game in world football, with the Championship playoff final. And I think there was some stat about if you look at the Bundesliga 16th placed versus third place Bundesliga 2 team, and how that playoff has run over the past few years. The Bundesliga 2 team is always going to be kind of at a bit of a disadvantage. Yeah. Now, imagine that when you've got the Premier League sides who have a wealth more money than the Championship sides. So every year, the reason why we do have 3 Championship sides come up and we're always like, oh, all 3 of them could struggle here, is because it's a totally different league. We don't ever see, except for maybe Leeds and maybe Villa, there's usually one, which is generally the winner or second place. We don't really see like the third place team come up through the playoffs and we go, do you know what, they could have a really good chance at staying in mid-table. It's always, there'll be relegation candidates. They're always going to be weaker for me than the Premier League team. And to play it on that one-off thing, it's just wrong because it's like putting, I don't even know who the third best team in the Championship right now is, but you make that team play. Is it Reading?
I think Reading are up there, yeah.
Okay, so then, for example, you have Reading against, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the third best team or third worst team in the Premier League.
Man United at the moment, isn't it? You're 16th.
We actually are down there, so you just say us.
Like say a Brighton, even though I think Brighton finished farther up, I think a lot of people think of them as that kind of sort of side. You put a Brighton against Reading, there's one winner. You put Brighton, you put Reading against Sheffield United, there's one winner. You put Reading against Crystal Palace, there's one winner.
But I suppose you don't know that though, because that's like an FA Cup game. It's like anything can happen.
It's not because it means more.
It's your biggest winner. It's your best team. You don't put like your best team out for an FA Cup 16 round of 16. You put your best team out when it relies on being in what would be the more expensive league than it even is now, and means so much more. I think it's so elitist. It's taking away the chance of those big clubs getting relegated. For example, Man United have an awful season and it only gets worse from here. We finish up in the bottom 3. Okay. We're not last, we're not second to last, we're third to last. As the Premier League structure currently stands, we go down without a chance. But then say that season happens and you've got that 18-team thing, and then we've got a chance to maybe just about stick in it after one game, which we probably could do. And if they're already saying, do you know what, EFL, here's 250 million, let's get this done and we'll sort out your little clubs. Hang on, here's another 50 million. Do you mind if you can just I'm not saying fix the game, but just make sure we win it. It's going down that route. It's so much like, it stinks of the Calciopoli scandal. It stinks of making a league owned by football clubs and keeping it that way. It's disgusting. It's wrong.
It's also
personally, I think if you're in the bottom 3 at the end of the season, you have been the worst team in the league. You deserve to go down. Like, it's just that kind of. I don't know if any of you follow rugby, but in the rugby Premiership, the top if you top the league, there's like 10 teams in the league. If you top the league, you haven't won the league yet.
Yeah, it's really
because you go into a playoff final. See, to me, that doesn't make sense. If you're the best team in the league, like you deserve to win the league. It's like the same as that. Yeah. So Sheffield United come third. They've been the third worst team in the league. They deserve to go down. Like it just, you don't need a playoff to think, oh, let's get lucky. people can be happy to finish 17th now because they got another chance.
Yeah.
Like it's not fair.
For me, it's sort of like it's trying to emulate this MLS model of almost the idea of relegation to Americans, and like rather than not Americans, but like America who like invest in football but don't follow it, is alien because there's no relegation.
Yeah,
there's no like that. The idea of like a big
the MLS literally has teams created for the league.
Yeah, and I think I heard it somewhere. Like I don't remember who it was who said it, but said, "What's the point in relegation? Because like, why would I invest in a team that can potentially be relegated? Because like we can't like increase our brand. Fans won't want to subscribe to this brand for 5 years or more because there's a chance that we could be relegated. So this sort of like follows this idea follows that model of we'll let the big teams who have no chance of relegation stay safe, and then we can invest in those. We'll give those the power because there's no risk of them going down. And sort of everyone else.
Looking at it, the key word that you said there was they're not going to invest in the brand. It is a brand now. It's all a business. Manchester United isn't a football club anymore. It's a tractor partner. Manchester United isn't a football club anymore. It's a buy now, pay later partner. We literally yesterday, I think it was, announced a sponsorship with the same or a similar thing to when you go on ASOS and you're like, I really like that jacket. I'll have it now, but I'll pay 3 monthly installments of 17 quid.
Isn't it like Klarna? I'm pretty sure that's the one.
That's what you were saying for Sancho.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's what we should use for Sancho.
It's Ed Woodward going, do you know what? I'm a revolutionary here when it comes to the transfer market. Let's get us like a sponsorship partner for it. Let's like funnel a couple of £1 million out so I can get it in my own pocket more. It's just, it is all such a brand. It's horrible.
It's the same thing for Arsenal. Arsenal is a tax haven for Stan Kroenke.
Yeah.
Genuinely, he doesn't put any of his own money in, I don't think. And then
for the Party transfers, the first time he's done it.
He takes out money that the club have earned that he hasn't earned. The club have earned through competition or branding or corporate, and then buys a $2 billion Texas ranch.
And as Arsene Wenger said the other day, when he was a bit confused about the recent Arsenal transfer dealings, because he was like, I don't know where the money's come from, because people like Kroenke have been so tight-fisted with trying to maintain this brand, but they haven't realised that to keep that brand alive, they've got to be successful. They've got to invest, and they thought the best way for us to do that now is to make failure even less of a chance. And what we'd consider failure, because I think even then you'd still have, if Man United got 5th out of 18, we'd still be a bit miffed as fans, but they'd be like, cool, that's Europe again for another year. And also think about it, it's so you got Champions League, Europa League, there's the other European competition coming in for one Premier League side.
UEFA Conference League.
Yeah, that's top 7 eligible for Europe, which is bad enough as it is. Could be pushed to top 8 if FA Cup winner works out correctly.
And League Cup winner.
There's no League Cup under this new model.
Is there not?
Yeah.
No League Cup, no
League Cup, the Charity Shield. But
Arsenal won't win a trophy.
Oh no!
No, we've still got the FA Cup. We'll have it forever, every season.
The worst thing, we haven't even touched on it, I don't think, is do you guys know about the voting rules? Yeah. So with the big clubs, if the big 9 have, it's a vote on any major change to the game, which I think has been defined as, for example, rule changes. It could be done like stadium law changes, could be done with owners to new clubs. If 6 of the top of the big 9 vote against something, it gets vetoed, no matter what anyone else.
Ridiculous.
So that top 6 could go, oh, Newcastle are getting a takeover. Well, what about the human rights consequences of the owners and what they've been doing in, I think, is it Qatar, I want to say? Look at them over there. They can't do that. We can't have them in our Premier League. Look, we vote against that. Newcastle now can't have new owners. Oh, by the way, my little business that is also doing human rights offences that was allowed in because we got bought 10 years ago. They're just going to carry on. We're actually going to support the country for the World Cup that has found to have human rights offences, just trying to build the stadiums for it. We're going to keep that going. It's absolutely. I don't know if I've gotten across how much I dislike it. But I think this is the most disgusting thing to ever happen in the game as a whole.
It's whether it happens or not, we don't know. We wait to see. I don't think many people are happy with it.
No.
But there's some positives to it. A lot more money is then distributed throughout the Football League. I think it's a 250 million bailout fund for EFL clubs, like that they can use if they need to. Parachute payments are stopped, which the disparity then of the often disparity of relegated teams then dominating in the Championship financially stops.
But then what that means is that clubs that are lower down in the table don't invest as much at risk of relegation. So again, just keeps the stronger team stronger.
I think it ruins the chance of seeing someone like Leicester win the league again. I think if this comes into play, you will have the same 4 or 5 winners every year.
Yeah, it's taking advantage of the situation,
and you won't then get someone like Wolves deserving Champions League football. And just like you won't get that, and I think it would be. Yeah, it will look very bad, A, on English football, and B. But interestingly enough, just final point, I read today that if the Premier League, or if it isn't approved by Premier League or FA or whatever, Man United and Liverpool are ready to create the European Super League.
It's just stupid.
No, we're not. It's all a load of rubbish.
I mean, it's fun. It's a fun thing to do on FIFA or Football Manager. It is so unrealistic to think that can even be implemented. The top teams,
especially in this day and age.
I mean, yeah,
especially with what's happening at the moment.
Yeah. But I think it's an interesting proposition because I think there'll be some teams who definitely are up for it. You look at Spain, there's 2 winners every 8 out of 10 times. You might get Atleti win it, or you might get
a Valencia jump up somehow.
Yeah, but apart from that, you have 2 winners. Serie A is going to be Juventus until
Milan sort themselves out.
And until AC Milan and Inter Milan get back up there. Germany is going to be Bayern unless they start dreadfully.
It'll be Bayern no matter what. Bayern, they've actually bought. I don't know if you saw this, but I remember read it somewhere on Twitter. Bayern Munich have bought the Bundesliga champions rights for the next 100 years, so they just got that flag.
So, but
free as well.
I think it'll be an interesting thing to see. But I think clubs won't be interested to make it more competitive, but then they will lose. There'll be no Champions League, and then you'll get teams like Wolves, Leicester, Everton, and Sheffield United. I think would be the teams that got the Champions League if we did so it would probably take away the sort of feel of that. I think if those teams, if Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man United, all those sort of teams go into a Super League, the Champions League will be no more. I don't know. We'll see. So unless there's anything else, I don't think there is. We will look forward to watching all the games that are on pre-bought channels. I don't think any of us will be tuning in to any box office games this weekend.
If someone wants to sponsor the podcast, then we will.
Yeah. Please.
Well, we've got plenty of listeners before it.
That would be great. Any brand, we will promote anything.
Literally anyone.
So I think good luck to Man United. You're going to need it against Newcastle, as are we against Man City. Interesting roster of games. I think this is the toughest weekend of games I think I've seen in a while. Not many you can explicitly call. And that is it for another week. We will be back next week, I promise. Probably with the same lineup as you see now.
Yep.
Probably. Okay. Thank you for listening or watching or not, wherever you are doing, whenever you're doing it.
Cracking outro, this is
5 minutes, I understand.
Yeah, I'm just so thank you for engaging in the podcast. Like, share, comment, subscribe, let us know your thoughts, let us know your opinions on anything we've spoken about today. Thank you to Toby, who is here on my screen, and Paddy, who's down there on my screen. Thank you for getting involved again.
Thanks for having us.
I will leave your Twitter or whatever you want in the description. Twitter, probably. James, again, as always, thank you. And take care. Goodbye.
Bye.